Hello and welcome back. It's one of those slow, rainy mornings where everything feels a little quieter, a little softer. The house is still waking up, the sky is grey outside, and after a few sunny days, the rain has made its way back again. The typical European weather. Since it's the beginning of a new week, I started the day with a quick grocery run and brought home all the fresh fruits, vegetables, and little essentials we needed for the week. So, in today's video, we are spending a cozy and productive day together, washing and prepping vegetables, restocking pantry jars, doing a little meal prep, making some quick homemade air fried snacks, and turning ordinary routines into slow, meaningful moments. So grab a warm cup of tea, get cozy, and spend this peaceful homemaking day with me. Driving down the road that I grew up on once again. It was actually double XL week at my local grocery store, which is usually the best time to stock up on everyday essentials. They had all the larger packs of nuts, dry fruits, and pantry staples, and since I use this so regularly, I always like picking them up during this time. Not only does it last much longer, but it also feels a lot more practical and value for money compared to buying smaller packs again and again. Sometimes I really miss the instant grocery delivery services back home, but over time, going to the store and picking up groceries myself has slowly become part of my routine. And now I actually find myself enjoying these little grocery runs and exploring local shops and discovering more local finds along the way. Refilling pantry jars is one of those small homemaking tasks that I genuinely enjoy so much. I always love starting with this because seeing everything neatly filled and organized instantly makes the kitchen feel refreshed and ready for a new week. The kitchen towels had gotten quite greasy over the past few days, so I soaked them overnight in warm water with a little dish soap and baking soda. And this simple trick helps loosen the oil and stains so much more easily. Now I just gave them a quick scrub with a brush, rinsed them well, and got them ready for drying. I lose my breath whenever I see you. And since the weather outside was still cold and rainy, I brought out the small foldable drying rack from IKEA, and it comes in so handy on days like this. Next, I simply followed the slow kitchen rhythm, no rush, just simple preparations. Starting with washing and prepping all the fresh vegetables for the week. Gently rinse the cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, lemons, and left to soak to get everything cleaned and ready for the meals ahead. I also found fresh green chilies this time, which I don't always come across in my usual local store, so I picked them up while I could. After that, I moved on to my onion basket, cleaning it out, lining it neatly with a fresh paper towel, and refilling it again with fresh onions for everyday cooking. And somehow, it's these small resets that make the whole kitchen feel refreshed, organized, and a little more peaceful again. It never rains in California. The sun is always shining bright. People are smiling, making plans, hiding behind. For tonight's dinner, I had gobi on the menu, though I wasn't completely sure yet whether I would prepare simple aloo gobi sabji and roti or some warm gobi parathas. So I just cut it into big florets, soaked it well in water, and gave it a proper wash to make sure it was clean and ready to cook. And if you are someone who preps vegetables in advance, one small thing I always try to keep in mind is to make sure everything is washed properly and then dried well before storing. It really helps keep them fresh for longer and makes cooking so much easier later. I usually like to prepare ginger in different ways depending on how I plan to use it. Sometimes I cut it into small cubes, and other times I grate it and freeze it for quick everyday use, especially for my morning chai. For now, I simply peeled and chopped it into small pieces, gave it a quick wash, and let it soak for a little. I will show you slightly later in the video how I prep and freeze it in batches so it lasts for weeks. While chatting with my sister yesterday, I casually asked her what she was drinking, and she told me she had just made this refreshing detox water as it's so warm back in India. It instantly caught my attention, and I got a little inspired in that moment. Since I already had fresh cucumbers and limes right in my kitchen, I thought, why not make one for myself too? So I quickly started preparing this simple summer drink. Simply added cold water to a jug, thinly sliced fresh cucumber and lime, and then went in some fresh mint leaves. I also added a bit of ginger for that extra kick, although that's completely optional. To finish it off, I mixed in some overnight soaked chia seeds. It's such a refreshing combination, especially during the warmer days. You can also make a larger batch in a jar and keep refilling it throughout the day. After that, I moved on to another simple summer prep, making frozen lime cubes for the days when you just want something cold and refreshing without any effort. So instead of making nimbu pani from scratch every time, I usually like to prep it in advance during the hotter days. It just makes things so much easier when you come back home and want something instantly cooling. So I squeezed fresh lime juice from 3 big limes, added 3 to 4 tablespoons of sugar and 2 tablespoons of black salt, and gave it a good mix. Then simply poured it into the ice cube trays and froze them. Later, whenever we want a quick drink, I just drop a few cubes into cold water and it's ready in seconds. I also never throw away the lime peels right away. I usually save them for later use, either for cleaning, and today I stored it for prepping some lemon pickle as we are expecting some hotter weather in the next few days. Just as I was wrapping up all the kitchen prep, I received a call from a friend saying she would be dropping by in the evening. And of course, I couldn't resist inviting her for a quick cup of chai. On days like this, when I needed something quick yet satisfying for last minute hosting, I always find myself reaching for my Cosori Turbo Tower air fryer. With its turbo blaze technology and dual basket design, it makes it so easy to cook two things at once without any stress, especially when everything needs to come together quickly. So I lightly grease the baskets and let them preheat at 180 degrees Celsius while I prepare the batter. I had already soaked some moong dal earlier. Initially, plan was to prep it for chila for breakfast tomorrow. But with the sudden chai plans in the evening and the rainy weather outside, I changed it into something more comforting. Crispy moong dal pakoras to pair perfectly with the hot chai. So I blended the soaked dal with ginger, green chilies, salt, red chili powder, and cumin powder. Kept the texture slightly coarse instead of a smooth paste because that little bit of graininess gives these pakoras their perfect crispy bite. Then in a mixing bowl added finely chopped onions, fresh coriander and a few more green chilies and mixed everything together until well combined. Then carefully placed spoonfuls into the air fryer basket. At first, I used a larger spoon, but halfway through, I realized smaller portions will be better for even crisping. So I switched to a smaller spoon for the next batch. They cooked at 180 degrees Celsius for about 10 minutes and lightly spread oil in between, shook the basket to ensure even cooking. To go with the pakoras, I roasted some green chilies, just lit few chilies and gave them a quick toss with salt and light spray of oil. Then added them in during the last couple of minutes so they could roast alongside the pakoras and turn perfectly crisp. And honestly, this is what I love most about the Cosori dual basket air fryer. It saves so much time, especially when you are cooking multiple things at once. The separate baskets make it so convenient to multitask without compromising on texture or crispiness. It has truly become my go to for quick hosting days like this when everything needs to come together a little faster but still feel homemade and warm. I will link the air fryer details in the description in case you want to check it. You came out of nowhere that first time. While the moong dal pakoras were air frying, I quickly went back to finishing small preps left. Finally chopped the washed ginger in the chopper, keeping it ready in two different ways for the days ahead. Since the ginger we get here is not as strong as what we get back in India, I use slightly larger portions for more flavor. Half of it went into ice cube trays and was frozen, a simple way to always have ginger ready for teas, curries, and everyday cooking for months. The remaining portion I stored in a glass jar, which I will use for the evening chai and in the next few days. Just when the kitchen was already feeling warm and busy with all the prep, I realized I had run out of chai masala, and it felt like the perfect moment to make a fresh batch. I always like keeping homemade chai masala in small portions because it instantly elevates a simple cup of tea and adds so much depth and aroma to it. So I quickly gathered green cardamom, cinnamon sticks, and black peppercorns and lightly dry roasted them. Since I already had the grinder out, I also ground some extra green cardamom that I like to keep ready in my pantry for quick cooking and everyday use. The perfect summer is over in a flash and you're on your way. Somebody near is open for tonight, it's not too late. My mind says yes, you've been here for quite some time. Once done, I stored the freshly blended chai masala in an airtight container, ready to be used whenever a cozy cup of tea is needed. Just as the moong dal pakoras were getting perfectly crisp in the air fryer, it was finally time to bring everything together for our little chai moment. The chai was almost ready, and I added 1 big tablespoon of the freshly made chai masala at the end. In between, I packed the washed and dried vegetables in airtight containers and quickly placed them in the refrigerator to clear up the countertop and tidy up the kitchen a bit. Next, quickly line the bottom tray of the Cosori dual basket air fryer with tortilla chips and decided to turn it into a quick cheesy nacho chaat. I topped it generously with mozzarella cheese and air fried it just for 2 minutes at 180 degrees. I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? The pakoras turned golden and beautifully crisp, and the kitchen was filled with that warm, comforting aroma that just feels perfect for a rainy day. They turned out light, crunchy, and just right. A simple, healthier, oil free option that pairs beautifully with hot chai in this weather.
Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that?
The nachos were ready too. Once it came out, I realized I had forgotten to use an air fryer liner, and taking out the melted cheesy nachos was a little tricky. I had to carefully scoop them out with a spoon to keep all the cheese intact. A small step I would definitely not skip next time for easier plating. To finish it up, I added freshly chopped onion, tomato, green chilies, coriander, a squeeze of lemon, and a sprinkle of chaat masala. And just like that, a simple 2-minute snack turned our chai moment into something even more special.
When I dance around, I can't help but feeling just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving.
The chai was almost ready by now, gently boiling, beautifully brewed, and turning that perfect rich golden color. Alongside the chai, I had also quickly baked some banana oat bread for the kids. A simple recipe I had already shared earlier, so I didn't go into detail this time. The banana bread was still warm when I sliced it, so it didn't come out in perfect neat pieces, but I still plated it on the cake stand. Next, moved everything to the dining table. The moong dal pakoras, the fresh nacho chaat, the banana bread, and a batch of homemade chocolate chip cookies.
For sure, how could I resist you?
To add that little extra cozy cafe style touch, I served the chai in my cutting glasses set. Simple, nostalgic, and perfect for a chai gathering like this. And just like that, what started as a simple rainy day turned into a warm, comforting chai party at home, filled with quick cooking, little kitchen resets, and so many small moments in between. Days like this always remind me how beautiful homemaking can be when we slow down and enjoy the process. If you enjoyed spending this productive day with me, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Happy homemaking.